When I started reading tarot, I did not realize how much it was going to change my life. In fact, I actually used to be very, very afraid of tarot. I used to be that modern person who's like, if I can't see it, then it doesn't exist. Then it's not real, you know? I am a very, very sensitive person. I feel things a lot, very deeply. Growing up, I know that I have a lot of intuition about things, but then I've learned to shut them down. I've learned to not listen to my intuition and listen to others instead, because it's a coping mechanism. It's a survival strategy, right? I feel like a lot of us developed that kind of survival mechanism to protect ourselves, because it can be unsafe to just show up as your authentic self. And again, it's just like we live in a world where, you know, if you can't see it, if you can't touch it, then it ain't real. So as I learn tarot, as I learn how to practice it, and just like feeling the cards in my hands, not that it's about that, not that that is what's convinced me about tarot, but how tarot has changed my life is that it has made me embrace who I am. It has helped me in trusting my intuition more. This section would probably speak to people who are currently wanting to learn tarot, or currently learning tarot, just learned tarot, or whatever. Yeah, I love that we are all magical. Exactly. This is what I've only realized, you know, I've only realized that, like, we actually do know a lot of things. We are connected, you know, we're all connected, and like we know a lot more about a lot of things than we give ourselves credit for. And I do believe that, you know, ever since I've learned tarot and everything, like a massive paradigm shift that I experience is that, again, this is, I'll speak from the eye, okay? This is my own opinion. But I do think that every human's a highly intuitive being, you know? Because I guess we kind of have that kind of misconception that there's only a handful of people who are intuitive. Like there's only a handful of people who like have strong intuition and blah blah blah. Like, but I kind of talked about this actually with my friend on my podcast, which is Things Your Sensitive Ass Needed to Hear. But from that particular conversation that I had with my friend, we were talking about like, how are we really sensitive, or were we just not allowed to feel, you know, actually values emotions and don't like view some emotions as bad or some emotions as good, because emotions are just they just are emotions. They're not good or bad, you know? So that was actually an interesting conversation, but through learning tarot, I realized that everyone does actually have intuition, you know? Like everyone has those like inklings, those thoughts that just come out of nowhere. Where did that come from, you know? See, this is something I still can't really explain yet. That's something that I'm still reflecting on, something I'm still ruminating on. I always highly recommend this to people who want to harness their intuition to learn tarot. It's such a great way to connect to your intuition, and it just kind of like, I guess, because like tarot cards are like tangible, right? Like you can see it, and like you can see yourself in the cards. What cards do is that they just bring out whatever is already inside of you, and it wouldn't tell you anything that you don't know already. And that's probably why you resonate with, you know, you can resonate with a lot of tarot readings and stuff. And so to me, seeing like myself in the cards and like seeing a hunch that I have translated into like a card, like a message from this like thing that I can see, that I can feel, that I can smell, even though it doesn't smell of anything. But it's made me like realize like, oh yeah, actually that thing that I already had a hunch about is right, you know? And even though I was kind of still relying on like these tangible 3D things, but it has made me trust my intuition more, even outside of tarot. And that is a pretty big deal to me. That is a pretty big deal. And like another thing that I think is like super paradigm shifting, like pretty big deal again for me, is that from learning tarot, I'm able to see the light and dark in everything. In all things, situations, people, whatever. And that was as someone who used to be very pessimistic, who used to just feel really hopeless, doesn't value themselves much at all, doesn't think that they're capable of pretty much anything. As someone who used to like have this dark cloud following them around anywhere they go, tarot has really, really helped me in gaining a little bit more perspective, in seeing that I actually do have hope, in seeing that, oh, actually humans do have hope. Not just single-handedly, of course. It wasn't just tarot, it's like a lot of other things as well, but that's what really started this whole journey for me, like this whole healing journey, of this whole like journey of like coming back to myself. Because again, like I can't tell you how much I used to view myself, how lowly I used to view myself. I did not think highly at all of myself. So the fact that learning tarot has given me hope, and that the fact that someone on stream, which I love her, by the way, the Tea Lounge, if you're not familiar, you should definitely follow her. She does like tea readings here on Twitch. The fact that someone said that, oh, you're such a positive person, it's like, what the hell? I've never ever seen myself as a positive person. I've always thought that I was quite a negative person. Like I was quite a pessimistic person. But now with tarot, I'm also able to like speak more kindly to myself, which I used to have this very, very harsh inner critic, inner parent. I'm a Capricorn moon baby, okay? So my inner world is very, very tough, very, very harsh. But somehow I've learned how to speak a lot more kindly, because getting familiar with the languages, just getting familiar with like all the themes in tarot, and like the fact that I was like reading for myself. You know, when you're reading for yourself, I mean, at least this is my process. If I'm reading for myself, I would kind of like talk to myself as if I'm talking to someone else. So if the Sun card comes out, like you wouldn't be talking like shit to someone, you know what I mean? But not that every card on the deck is like positive, but the fact that, you know, even the Tower card, right? Let's say the Tower card, even though it's like really scary, like even the Nine of Wands. I mean, in the original Rider-Waite, you would see someone who's like injured. They have a lot of wounds. They're like wearing bandages and stuff like that on their body, on their head, and that hurts, right? But then the light aspect of this situation is that, you know, you're almost there. Like the 9 is like you're almost completing this cycle, you're almost completing this thing that you're going through, and it will soon be over. Like, even I guess that's a lot more reflected in like the 10 of Swords, right? Like, how painful is it to have 10 swords stabbing on your back, right? And at the same time, you can rest in the comfort that the sun is rising, you know? It's not always going to be dark. There's always a cycle in life. And that in itself is pretty life-changing as well for me. The fact that realizing that a lot of our life is like cycles. We have cycles in our lives, we have phases, and it helps me to embrace my own timeline. It's helped me to embrace my own journey and like not just like staying in my own lane and not keep on comparing myself to other people, because we all have different journeys. We're all on different paths. And that I feel like it's helped me realize how you're always on the right path as well from learning about tarot. There's no wrong path. Any path that you take is the right one. And like, you can just change it. You can change your path. You're the artist of your own life, you know? Like, life is your masterpiece. Life is your painting. You can paint it however the fuck you want. I used to always be like really, oh, am I doing the right thing? And like, is this right? And just, I don't know, I'm just always scared of making a mistake, I guess. Which I guess that makes me human, you know? It's helped me to embrace mistakes and different paths. But you'd be surprised, right? A lot of people don't realize that, right? Like, we kind of know that we have free will, and we kind of know that we can do whatever we want, but I guess sometimes we feel we inflict this trap against ourselves. We like to create these like barriers, and like we like to create these blockages upon ourselves and think that we are trapped. We trap ourselves. That's a simple way to put it. We like to trap ourselves, right? Sometimes it does take a couple cards that have a couple symbols on it to make you realize that you're not actually that trapped. I know, society and all of these stupid conditions. Yeah, we think we need to conform, exactly. But then I guess there's now a lot of people that are realizing, right? I feel like there's an uprise of people, you know, realizing that we don't have to conform. We're not that trapped. It is safe for us to show up as our most authentic self. It is okay. We'll be fine. Yes, exactly, Numinette. You talked about that concept a lot better than I did. Tarot made me realize how things come in cycles instead of life being one big cycle. It's filled with so many other cycles. Exactly. Like, our life is filled with like hundreds of different cycles. That really helped me and my inability to rest. I guess that's another common experience that we have in this society, in this capitalistic society, that we really struggle to rest. We really struggle to be in the space of discomfort. We think that when we let ourselves, you know, sit in discomfort, when we let ourselves grieve, when we let ourselves feel, really, like, we think that we will be there forever. Like, we think that we will not be able to come back out because it's so dark, it's so painful. Like, you would just get inside of this black hole and you wouldn't be able to get out when you like let yourself feel uncomfortable emotions or uncomfortable situations and admit that. But like, the thing is, it's just like the weather. It's like we have different seasons, and sometimes it's just the season that we're in, and we're all like going through our own little cycles, right? Not everyone's cycles are the same. Not everyone has like the same little phases or steps in each cycle. I would love to hear what you think. If you read tarot as well, how Do you think it has changed your life? Do you think you've learned a lot of things that you probably wouldn't have learned if you didn't like get your hands on a tarot deck? I would love to hear your little thoughts and experiences.